Did you have any idea that you'd be here in 6 years?
No, every year is a new journey. When we first started the company, our initial ambition was to solve safety for taxis in Malaysia. And since then, we've just grown from strength to strength.
So 225 cities, 8 countries. What is the outlook for future growth? How much bigger can the market be for you?
So we actually just launched Grab Platform, which is our strategy to grow from a transport platform and ride-hailing company into much, much more. It serves food, logistics, payments, financial services, and we want to become Southeast Asia's everyday super app.
Talk to me about the vision here. Grocery delivery is one of the latest new ads.
Yes, so last week we actually launched a partnership with Happy Fresh for Grab Fresh, which brings grocery deliveries to all of our users across 8 countries. And we think this is tremendous because groceries are actually the highest average household spend for all Southeast Asian families.
Do you think you could do all of these things well, though?
So this is why we're very focused on a partnership-first approach, and that's a critical pillar in how we're launching Grab Platform. We want to bring together the best partners on board to leverage the assets that we already have. So to date, we have more than 100 million downloads. We serve more than 7 million drivers and agents. So we have the largest distribution network in Southeast Asia. And of course, the technology platform that has been built just for Southeast Asia.
So what new areas could we expect you to expand into? What are you considering?
So what we're focused on is everyday, not everything. So things like, of course, groceries. We've also launched a cycles platform with e-scooters and bicycle partners. And going forward, what I think you should not expect from us is things like massages or the ability to consign art a la WeChat.
And how do you guys make money in the partnership structure?
Yeah, so I think it's really different depending on what kind of business and what kind of services they're working with us. Our partners can partner with us on 3 types of methodologies. Like Happy Fresh, they're going to be fully embedded into our product. So the users will see Happy Fresh in the Grab app. So for that, they'll be using our services, our payments, deliveries, and there will be a service fee there. There are also types of partnerships where we partner with e-commerce players where they use different parts of our technology platform where we can see Grab Pay and Grab Deliveries as part of the checkout. So again, there are different kind of transaction fee there. And the third one is for them to engage in our platform a la Grab Rewards, which is the largest rewards platform in Southeast Asia right now, and also our new news content feed where we launched a partnership with Yahoo last week.
Now, as you guys are expanding, Singapore's antitrust agency recently accused Grab of having monopolistic power in its home market. I know you've said you disagree, you plan to appeal, but how?
Yes, so for context, last week, the Singaporean government, or 2 weeks ago, they launched a preliminary announcement on some of the investigations into the acquisitions. Firstly, we disagree with it. And of course, there is a formal appeals process, which we're in the process of doing, where we're writing in officially to them, as well as having ongoing conversations. So net, if you step back and think about why this is happening, right? Of course, this was one of the largest transactions Southeast Asia has seen. And we're not surprised the regulatory bodies are doing their jobs because they want the same things that we do, which is for the best customer experience for the citizens of Singapore in a way that's pro-innovation and pro-business as well.
So do you think you'll moderate your strategy at all as a result of these inquiries right now? I mean, it's interesting to have the antitrust agency saying this at the same time that you're saying you want to be a super app.
Think about what we've been doing over the last 6 years. Over the history of Grab, we've been doing this consistently, where we're creating markets and building new businesses via technology that changes status quo. Now, because of that, every time we do anything that adds value, it's growing and it's changing, it's building, in a way, disruption in a positive way. So all of our conversations with regulators to date have always been focused on, what we call a startup-like path. We work together to figure out how to deliver the best outcomes, but it always also takes a bit of time to figure out how to do it together.
Now, in the last year, Grab made a huge coup, getting Uber to swap its business in Southeast Asia for a 25.5% stake. That said, a merger between 2 former, very, very fierce rivals can be difficult. How is the integration going?
Actually, stepping back, it's actually been a fantastic experience so far. Of course, it's not been 100% smooth. Dara, though, now sits on our board. I actually just saw him 2 days ago in Aspen, and he's been a great board member. Operationally, the integrations are going well as well. All of the drivers are on board our platform right now, users, and it's been pretty smooth relative to the size of the deal.
Now, when they did this with Didi, I never quite understood it. I mean, how does the communication between you and Dara work? Because Grab and Uber are still competitors in other territories.
No, so firstly, Grab is very focused in Southeast Asia, and Uber no longer operates in Southeast Asia.
So you have no plans to expand beyond Southeast Asia?
I think that it's important to understand that Southeast Asia is a huge market with tons of opportunities, right? Population-wise, Southeast Asia is the third largest in the world. It's larger than North America. It's larger than the EU. So there's a ton of growth opportunities, which is why we're moving into a platform play and to become a super app for Southeast Asia.
So what are some of the issues that you and Dara are working through? Give me some examples of, the future challenges and the things that you discuss.
Actually, what we have been doing together with Dara is actually very much like him being a board member, like our other major shareholders. And he's been great at it. He's been able to bring the lens of being both an operator, a business partner, and now, of course, sitting on both sides, right? He gets to share what has worked at Uber, what hasn't as well, while he learns from my experiences as well.
Now, you mentioned that Grab was started to address safety, and a Grab driver was recently stripped and robbed in what was a harrowing sort of 12-hour ordeal. What are you doing to better protect drivers?
We're doing a lot. In fact, these incidents make us extremely sad because we know there's so much more that we can do, not just for passengers, but for drivers as well. So some of the recent things we've launched have been like emergency buttons, which are connected to local police enforcement. We've also started looking into passenger ratings, which historically were not needed. So net, I think it's really important to know that as the economy evolves, many different people are unfortunately taking means that are not great to earn an income. And we're doing what we can to make sure that we can fulfill the promise of becoming the safest platform in Southeast Asia. And right now we're 5 times safer than any alternative transportation, and we want to make it 0 safety incidents.
What's the value proposition to drivers, and how does it compare to Uber and Lyft and Didi?
So firstly, let me step back and share with you how our transportation platform is so different in terms of what kind of services you can get on it, right? In the States, you're used to, let's say, an UberX, which is a car service. In Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, right, we have taxis, we have cars, we have motorbike taxis as well, where you can actually jump on as a pillion rider to a small bike to weave through traffic. We also have 3-wheelers like tuk-tuks that you see in Bangkok. We also have shuttles, and we also integrate with public transportation. That's just on the transport side. So imagine yourself as a driver of a motorbike, right? You can pick up passengers, you can deliver food, you can deliver things, and now you can deliver groceries. That's significantly more income opportunities than they ever had before, even when they were just purely, let's say, contract workers. So
we've been talking a lot about the scooter market, and they've run into a lot of regulatory issues here in the United States. Are you running into those same issues in Southeast Asia, where all of these different new forms of transportation are popping up, but cities and countries aren't ready for it?
I think the good news for us is we've already been doing that for the past 6 years, and we've had a lot of successful conversations with our various regulatory bodies. For example, in Singapore, we launched with 100% oversight and agreement from the Singaporean government as a service called Just Grab, which enables us to give fixed fare pricing for taxis as well. So this actually overrides the taxi meter in Singapore. And if you think about what that means, is that as a 5-year startup, when we launched this product, the Singaporean government said that we trust you enough to serve the citizens of Singapore in a way that was different than what the original taxi industry had done for decades.
We talked about partnerships. Are you interested in M&A? Are you looking at companies to buy to fulfill this super app vision?
So we've had already a few M&A, some of which are like Crudo, where we acquired, there are millions of agents. We've also recently launched Grad Ventures, where we're hoping to help seed and start and support more startups like ourselves when we were younger, because we don't want them to have to go through the same pains and challenges that we did when we were trying to build a regional company.
So are there other areas, and if so, what areas where you see it's better to buy rather than build or partner?
I think we look at it on a case-by-case basis. What we do is, firstly, we identify growth areas, and then we try and figure out, are there partners that can deliver that with the right commercial terms in a faster, more efficient way? And then if not, then we make a decision on whether we build it or we buy it from someone else to continue building as well.
Masayoshi-san, speaking at SoftBank World in Japan, talked about how it's ridiculous that ride-hailing still isn't allowed in Japan. Is that a market that you would pursue if allowed, and do you see any potential progress there?
I think going back to the point that Southeast Asia has just a ton of opportunities. It's a market where we understand the customers. It's a market where we know what needs to be done, and we have lots of existing assets and partnerships to leverage. That's the market we're focusing. It's home. So folks always ask us about, Australia, Japan, China. We don't see the need to go there just because there's so much more to do in Southeast Asia. Some numbers. It's been quoted that the digital transformation wave is actually going to bring $1 trillion worth of impact to the economy in Southeast Asia. To date, the GDP in Southeast Asia is only 2.6 trillion. So think about how much more we can do together.
So it's been 6 years. Where will Grab be in another 6 years?
I wish I could tell you, but what I can definitely say, no, I don't think we'll ever be a Tencent. We used to be called the Uber of Southeast Asia, so I hope we don't get called, the Tencent of Southeast Asia. We want to be the Grab of Southeast Asia, and what we're super focused on right now is understanding what are the key everyday pain points, Grab platform becoming the everyday super app, and solving that in the best way possible with as many partners as possible.